France. Over halfway, but really not penetrated this French defence yet. And once again, they've turned it over for 6 touch. This is again a really good drive once again by the French. This 7 metres out. Delighted to say, as France look to try and score their third, but it's a fumble. Jordan returns to join me on co-commentary after some interview duties that we will see a little later.
Yep, just preparing ourselves for the. I think we previewed it this morning as the game of the day, and I'm sticking with that. England v Ireland men's opens after this one at 3:35. Just having a chat with John Ennis from Ireland and Will Saracle from England. Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
We'll look forward to that interview. It will be coming at the end of this game as we look ahead to England and Ireland, which is next here on Field 1. But let's concentrate on this one. Waves away, France taking a very early 2-0 lead against Belgium. Belgium struggling to penetrate the French defence and attack. They're really finding it difficult to get really beyond the 10-metre line at the moment. France with some great speed and showing some great attacking flair.
Yeah. Really quick to the box already, and they've got space there. And something that I noticed already, we were talking about it in the break at lunch about teams transition and their subbing, and already France look really quick to get to their box. And obviously, for something we talked about as well. If your subbing's half decent and your transitions just as good, you're going to either get a repeat set, or you're going to get a score. And France have got a repeat set there.
France
good feet.
Again.
Great footwork.
Oh, nice quick passing, but the Belgian defence just holding firm there.
Really nice little setup from France. It looked like Belgium had a little bit of a pocket defence going. They did have one middle quite far back, and they are looking to do that, but the space on the left, that's a pill and a half. Great ball, right to left.
Straight
Beautiful.
over to the left-hand side.
Cecile Mas with a great right to left. She steps on the outside, so it's a quickie play. She gets her other middle to come in. It's a nice little setup from half, and she sees that space on the left straight away. And not only to see it, the next step is to be able to execute it, and that's really nice play.
3-0 France lead, and they've been pretty dominant in this opening 9 minutes or so. Belgium really struggling to get any purchase towards the French try line.
Belgium looking to, they're dragging over to the wing, which is fairly unusual. But they'll come back to the middle for the standard strike play, and it's a 33 pick-up from half. And the ball will be turned over right in the far corner for France. So they've got a little bit of work to do to get towards the box, but with 3 passes straight away, that is awesome. That is what you'd want. Touch 2 and you're near halfway. Touch 3, they're going to be over halfway, and now 4 and 5 you're going to see that transition that we talked about in the break. So they're going to drag across to the link. 5th touch will probably be a middle scoop, which it is. You've got actually a sweeper play, so that play is live. Step back in. Belgium look like they defended that quite well and recovered, but France have still got the ball.
Still there.
And that's the turnover.
And I think this is the difference we've seen between the two teams. And certainly what I've noticed in these first 10 minutes is how fluent France are when they're going forward.
Yeah.
So fast. Whereas Belgium seem to be just stuttering that little bit, thinking about what they're doing, stopping to think, and it's not just got that flow that what the French attacks have.
Yeah, like I said, it's something I noticed when I came over there. Now I've only seen 2 sets of the French subbing, but they find it really easy to get over to their box, and it's really nice. I mean, Belgium aren't helping themselves. They're not putting France under a great deal of pressure. If they did, those 3 passes would be hard to execute, especially on touch 1. But at the minute they're having a lot of joy with it. They've got space on the left again. Really nice again, and it's that left-hand edge. It's really crammed in for Belgium, and France are having a lot of joy on that left edge.
4-0 France lead now, and it's looking ominous for Belgium even at this early stage of the game.
Yeah.
France dominating the play.
It just looks like to me, especially the online defence of Belgium, you talk about how fluid France are looking, and a lot more composed. Online D for Belgium, they've had quite a bit of joy in that corner, that far corner, and it's down to the you kind of want to split the field into 2 when you're defending. You've got 2 teams of 3 essentially. That far middle in that second team of 3 over there, it's just, the winger and the link is just a little bit too tight, especially when their middle's making the touch. You want to be covering your short side corner really, and that's where France are finding the space. But like we said, they're not only seeing the space, they've got the players to just execute as well, and that's really good. The space is there again. They've got a right to left there. They do go to it. Corner. Good dive.
And in. Yeah, no
good
touch
dive.
made. And it's 5-0 the France lead, and they've looked like scoring
really
every attack that they
you can see that space on the replay. Like, you can see all that space in that corner, and I think at some point that far side for Belgium, they're going to have to realise that France. You normally defend like that if your opposite team hasn't got much of a long ball threat. France obviously do, especially with completing 3-on-2. So it's a tough one so far, and the hips aren't square on that roll ball. France are running riot here at the minute, and
I mean, this is the thing as well. Another feature is how fluent France are in attack, but also Belgium just struggling to get anywhere over the 10-metre line when they have the ball themselves.
That was lovely. What France are doing really well. They're picking off Belgium shooters really well as well. So when Belgium are putting France under a little bit of pressure, and like you see here, the France players, 3 of them got really high, and 3 of them are backed off and doing what's called pistons or shooters, and it's just to put Belgium under as much pressure as possible. You see them 4 back, 2 of them are shooting up now, 4 of them are back at the minute. They're going to go on this next one, and that's really good midfield defence. We talk about how important that is. That's 5th touch, and they're way in their own half.
Yeah, this is
really good defence.
This is just a dominant performance by France.
Yeah, dominant, definitely. I think if I'm France, I'd probably be looking to be a little bit more clinical on line attack. You can easily go into your shell here a little bit, and maybe not drop down to Belgium's level, but take the foot off the gas a little bit. And I think if France are aspiring to be up there with England and Wales, they want to be clinical in these positions, and they've not been on that set.
No, the Belgian defence holding firm there. Now let's see what they can do. They're starting very, very deep.
Yep.
They need a couple of drives where they get some really good yards, but they're just not doing that. The French defence has been superb.
Yeah, and that's one of the few times that they've not got the midfield deed right, France. The reason Belgium aren't able to get upfield is it's not through a good step. It's not through a huge fault of their own. France are they're not allowing them to breathe, and it's really good. It's really good midfield deed. They've obviously spotted that's something that will be effective on Belgium, and it's obviously effective against other teams as well. If they can bring that against the top level teams, they're going to do some damage. And that's
Belgium.
They're just happy to turn it over in that corner. So they'll probably go 3 pass again here, France. 2, 3. They're going to try and get over to that box. That's better from Belgium. That shooting's much better than what we saw before. They're going to have touch 3. Oh, that's nice. Good heads up touch. So yeah, touch 3 in their own half. France have done well to salvage that this set of 6, and they're going to get a strike play. So that just shows you France, they're not panicking. Well, until then, that's my fault. Sorry, France.
I think that was a communication thing.
Was a little bit.
I think the ball was going for Marielle Fein on the right. Probably didn't shout for it, which allowed the link to reach up and.
Yeah, and the thing was, I don't know whether they were forced into doing things like that and sort of kind of chucking the ball about, because that's not what they've been doing for the first half. That's half court. When Belgium are able to put them under a little bit of pressure on touches 1 and 2, they've not been able to there. It seems to me that France are trying to salvage it on touches 4 and 5, which is why they were forced into that error. So if Belgium can just up their midfield D a little bit, they're going to see some joy from this game. But it's that left-hand side again. No, they've not been able to exploit it that time. So 5th touch strike option is going to be a 32 short. Good left foot step. There's your hole. Ball down.
Yes,
that's
it is
nice, really nice.
Cecile Math, who puts the ball down.
She looks to be their strike player for me. They're kind of on-field coach, their general. She comes on that short side option, she's not on left foot step. That's a mega step. That's really nice.
She enjoyed that. 6-0 to France, and after Belgium had sort of regrouped a little bit, not allowing France to score, they do finally get their 6.
Well, like I said, it's that midfield D does play a big part, and the time that Belgium did put France under a little bit of pressure, they did make that error. If France can just come back to put in, sorry, if Belgium can just come back to putting them under a little bit of pressure, I think they'll see some joy from that.
Down it goes, 7 metres out Belgium, but
France playing quite tight here. There's a lot of space on that right hand side if they can work their way over there. Doesn't seem that they have those strike players, those on-field generals that seem to dictate the play. They've got a lot of talented girls, and they've obviously they're quick, they're skillful, but sometimes you do need that on-field head to kind of just sort of direct those athletes around. And wow, that's really nice work. Good heads up touch, that's nice, and she's got it back.
Well, we haven't seen that this week so far.
That's outstanding.
Elia Huguet.
Good heads up touch for her, like she skips away, beats 1, beats 2, and then it's a 3-on-2. They're not able to execute the 3-on-2, but I'll take that back. Beautiful.
And that's the thing, as long as it goes backwards, doesn't matter who picks it up.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's like when you play 5-a-side in the soccer dome and you can play the ball against the wall to yourself. Just play it into a player, get it back, play on. Off we go.
So 7-0 France lead. One of the tries of the day there.
I think just while we're on the topic of score of the day, maybe score of the tournament, I think we saw it on field 2.
Is that the somersault?
About half an hour ago. Toby Phillips scored a blinder. If you get a chance,
yes.
I think it'll be floating around social media, or you can wind back on the live stream. Field 2, England mixed open v France. England they actually have 5 players in attack, and he still manages to run a counties play with his winger, step 3 people, jump over 2 people. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, Mel got it as she was watching it as I was wrapping up the last match, and then showed me. And it was just away from an almost standing somersault over the last player.
It happens every so often, and there's a really good clip of a high-level touch player, Pete Norman, an Australian Men's Opens player. He did the same. I think he's done the same thing twice, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and that was special. I think Toby's is better to go over his head. I mean, not to inflate his ego too much, because his ego is way too inflated as it is already. But yeah, I think if you get the chance, if you're watching this game now, just during half time, have a rewind back on that game, because that was special.
We've seen the tries from the game so far.
Like we said, France just run really hard, really hard. Look at that. That's just heads-up play, and that comes off the back of their transition and their subbing. They've obviously got a framework that they like to stick to. It's that 3 pass to the box, and then they can drive up the box for touches 2 and 3. 4 and 5, they're working to their strike play, but they've got players and they've got athletes that, if they see space, they are more than capable of running into it and executing 2-on-1s, executing 3-on-2s, seeing space, and if they can keep this up and take this into days 3 and 4, we're going to see them challenging England and Wales and Scotland in those games, because they just look really sharp early on.
Well, let's have a look at the Women's Open as a whole so far. And if we look at France in particular, they opened up with a good win, 7-3 over Ireland. But then a couple of defeats, 10-2 to England, and then earlier today a really close game against Scotland, 2-1. So France won 1 and lost 2. So above everything else, they really need the win here.
They do, and I think it looks like I think they'll be disappointed with that Scotland game, because we saw Scotland yesterday and they were still sharp. They were still sharp against England. England going off the scores, and I've watched them a couple of times now, twice on the live stream and a couple of times out on the fields. And England Women's Open do look a cut above everyone else at the minute. It's theirs to lose. Everyone else is kind of playing second fiddle to them at the minute. But there's teams like Scotland, there's teams like France, there's teams like Wales that are able to challenge, and it maybe is just taking a bit of momentum from these kind of wins and these kind of performances into the next few days that are going to help.
As for Belgium, they a couple of heavy defeats on their opening day. 10-0 against Wales, 12-0 they lost to Scotland. Earlier today they lost 10-2 to Ireland, so at least they got a couple of scores on the board. But I think it's fair to say they're probably going to finish bottom of this round robin pool.
Yeah.
So for them, I suppose it's how much they can develop and what they can learn throughout this tournament.
That's the thing. I mean, the thing about the European Championships is, and it's the same goes for World Cups as well, not every team is going to be challenging for the top. Not every team is going to be challenging for medals, and Belgium will recognise that this is a learning process. And you're right, it's about taking as much from this as you possibly can. Touch is, I've been playing touch for the past 16 years, and you can never ever stop learning. And it is about learning from your mistakes and just doing everything you can to make sure that those kind of mistakes don't happen again. And you do that game by game, day by day, session by session, year by year, season by season, and it never stops. And the thing about this Belgium team now is, if they can keep this nucleus of players into the next European Championships, the World Cup the year after, that's when they'll start seeing a lot of joy from moments like this and experiences like this. The trouble is when you put these teams together, and then the year after it's a fresh new set of faces. That's when things become tough, and it's about staying together, it's about learning with each other, it's about encouraging each other, and making sure that the year after you can take that next step. And I suppose you can't not really, I suppose, if you're able to keep that core group of players. Obviously the other teams around you are going to improve as well, but you never know. Next year there might be different countries who are able to enter, and Belgium will benefit from entering this year as well. They've got a small squad, so it's about adding to it and just improving year on year.
Well, here France go from the tap off, and not their usual flowing move that we saw in the first half so far, and maybe that has been something that Belgium have said that they
good hands, really nice.
As soon as I say that, out it comes to the right hand side.
They'll want you to be saying that even more. Tell them that their attacking plays broke down. It's a 32 shot, and it's their on-field general again, Cecile Mass. She's managed to skip to the outside, and it's that tight space again. Oh,
there's Marie Nuri.
I don't think that score was given.
Oh,
What's that? I don't know what's happened there. I was enjoying the replay. That was interesting. I didn't see that. I was watching the replay. I was certain that was a score.
Yeah, we'll see if we can see the replay.
Yeah, I didn't see anything untoward. I didn't see any referee. I didn't see any hand signals from the referee. That was a strange one. Yeah, but like you're saying, France looked quite sharp there, and they've worked their way back down.
Yeah, they're still back at the 7 metre. They're just.
So they're going back to that 32 shot. It's a long now, and they skip to the
Space
outside.
on the left.
Space.
Oh,
she knows it as well. Head in the hands, and so they varied it up a little bit there. And so this will be the replay before they drag it over middle on middle. Cecile Mass comes on that 32 shot and spots that space on the outside. Referee's calling play on. That look. I don't know what's gone on there, because the sideline referee just before that replay ended, he was going back to halfway. The referee looked like he was rolling back. Maybe this sideline referee called something that we didn't see.
I don't know whether the ball rolled. When it
could have been
down right,
yeah, could have been
roll forward.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they called it back.
So I was looking for the two referees on the far side. It could have been this sideline ref here that spotted it. So we move. Belgium survived for that one, but it was interesting to see that France varied up their line attack when they came back down. They went to 32 longs. Just a little bit of a variation on the short, I suppose. Just changing things up a little bit to try and get to the outside and exploit that tight Belgian defence.
Jet for France with a rare error for them. Gives Belgium the ball.
Far corner in the shade. England men's opens warming up for what should be an absolutely belting game in about half an hour. Just doing a little bit of diving.
And we've changed our commentary console over to allow 3 to commentate on that game.
So exciting.
So Chris Weirmack will have the call for that one. Should be a great game.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Space on the side again. Good execution. That's good skills from France. And again, I think that might have been Cecile Mass as well. She is at the heart of everything that France are running. You see here, she'll pick up on a middle scoop. She'll get to the outside of her middle. Just 3 on 2. The winger's got to come in. 2 on 1. Beautiful. Well done.
Marielle Thiefeng with the second try. Remember, in the first half, she scored a very, very similar try to that one. Over on the wing.
She's got good finishes as well. Like, as much as Cecile Mass is running everything, she's got to have the players outside her that can help her orchestrate what she's wanting to run and eventually finish what she's running. And both France's wingers are just able to just finish off some really nice little plays.
Belgium.
It's unfortunate that they did create a little bit of space on the open side. So France a little bit closer to their box now, and they've slowed down their subbing a little bit. Maybe a lack of comms there, but they break back into that speed, and that's what the good teams can do. And the referees
turned it over that. So opportunity for Belgium to at least get a chance on the France time.
Yeah, they should get a couple of shots on their line here. You just don't want it to be wasted. This obviously already that's the one touchdown. You only get 6. You got to use every single one as best you can. That's 2. A little bit of a 23 shot, and the Belgian. Oh, nice little flick pass out the back, but Belgium were briefly down to 5 players there, so that won't help. And again, they're down to 5 players.
it's
So this is stunting their line attack a little bit.
It's just that lack of experience. With
It is, yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, you're tired and you want to get off, but they do get a fresh set of 6 here, so hopefully they get another shot on the line.
See, I'm not so sure of the tactic of changing here.
So it's a tough one, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that could be going on, and players obviously are tired, and you want to get off. But that's a shame, obviously. And what you might want to be doing as well is getting your strike players on, or getting your more experienced players on. So that's the other side of it. But you're right. It is a shame that you're subbing on that, because, like you said, you've only got 6 shots on the opposition's line.
Down it goes. Oh, and it's down on the far right-hand side, and France go 9-0 ahead. So France dominance continuing. Rose Huget with the latest try.
Similar to a few games yesterday now, I think what France can do now is they can either look to execute, and they can look to be clinical for the last 15 minutes or so, or they can just pull it back a little bit. They're going to have some important games tomorrow. I'm guessing they'll want to be meeting Scotland again at some point, because that'll look like a tight game. But yeah, they can ease off a little bit, I suppose.
They can, if they want to, but it doesn't look like they're doing it at the moment. They're still attacking with all the fluency they've shown throughout.
But credit to Belgium here, their midfield D looking much better there, putting them under a little bit of pressure. That's unfortunate that's back to 1. She's got in the passing channel, but she's blocked a certain try there. France will be disappointed with that.
Belgium come again.
And they'll work their way to the box, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of strike play on touch 4 and 5. So that's third touch, and they'll work their way back to the midfield. And that's a loose carry. So we're making our way into the last 10 minutes now, and let's see if France can either turn on the flare, and that's nice, good yards. So they run really hard when they're coming out. They've got the space here on this side as well. I think its chance is probably just gone. Good feed from Cecile Mass. She'll run that quickie play on the other side.
Now space on the
what
right
a
side.
pill!
Oh, what a ball!
Woo!
What a ball! And it's double figures for France as Marine Nui scores her second try of the game.
Wow, what a ball. Tell you what she does really well here. Belgium are bent out of shape, and all we mean by that is the defence is scrambling all over the place. So rather than either tip the ball on or panic or stop the play completely, she's run and move on the back of that missed shape from Belgium, and it's a simple play to run because you only need 2 players to run it. So she's run a middle quickie, and then again we keep saying it, but not only to see that the space is there, but to be able to pull that off while she's running at high speed, that's top elite level skill. Off a left hand as well. Not many players are able to rip that pill off left hand, and it was really nice, really nice.
Wind just picking up as it did yesterday at about this time. So
that famous sea breeze, the afternoon sea breeze in Nottingham.
Yeah, the seagulls will be died probably. The
good feet!
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
France are putting on a show here. She's done that a few times.
Marie-Henri
has done that a few times. She sees space really well, comes off the left foot, there's your space, and she's got the speed to finish it off as well.
Completely wrong foot to the defender.
That's so nice. That's like a seven score. Just seeing space and trying not to roll back into your structure too much, because if you see space and you're able to execute it, that's so nice. And France seem like they've got a good balance in this game of Cecile Mass running good touch plays and executing well, and players like Marie Henry where she can just beat people. Belgium looking a little bit smooth here. Good hands, great pick up. France are offside here. They can attack if they want to. That's the turnover. That was really nice from Belgium. Good heads up touch.
Probably the best attacking play we've seen from Belgium all game there. And they've very rarely got to that France 7-metre line.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You want to have as many shots on your opponent's line as possible, and if that's being limited, then your scores are going to be limited, and that's what France have done really well here. And again, they're putting on a clinic of subbing and transition, so they'll break their way into 4 and 5 again now, and that's a shame.
It's just, I suppose that in a way it might be a bit of a danger of moving forward so rapidly and playing so rapidly, is that when you put the ball down you've got momentum and it just carries it forward.
And it's a skill. It's a skill you've got to practice, and your skill you've got to perfect. And I was talking about you've got to be learning all the time. That's something that people like myself are always trying to look to improve on. And it's about control and good feet. That's a shame. They had a little bit of space on the right hand side there. Yeah, just going back to that ball control, it is a good one. We saw it yesterday morning when it was a little bit greasy, and it's still a factor now, even with the weather being good touch weather to play in. You want to be able to run 100 miles an hour, but you need to control the ball, and it's about finding a good balance. Sometimes you want to be at 100% completion, 80% speed. So it's just about finding that good balance, and Marie Henry as well, striding, pill to the right hand side. Beautiful. Great score.
It really is a clinic that France are putting on now. It's Marie Henry again. I think that's a hat-trick for her.
Beautiful. Well done.
12th try for France.
It's Marie Henry again, so seems like she's taken over from Cecile Mass as my favourite player in this game. She's got a lethal left foot step and a lethal left to right as well. That's really nice. Good finish. And when it breaks down a little bit there, like I said it before, they look like a sevens team. They're just picking people off, and 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. They're being ruthless here at the minute, France.
That's France again.
Good feet. Space on the left edge here. Cecile Mass steps inside.
Everything coming through Cecile Mass.
So she's down to the 7 now. This is her territory. So she'll run a quickie on the link, 3-on-2 on the left hand side, right to left. She can pill off both hands. That's so nice.
13-0 France lead, and once again it's Marielle Fiafain putting the ball over.
She makes it easy for herself by running that quickie on the link, and being a middle, it just gives you an extra player. That's where that extra player comes from. The fact that the link's making the touch and being quite aggressive, but she's actually making the touch on Cecile Mass, who's a middle. So when Cecile Mass gets it back on that quickie play, she's got her link outside her and a winger outside her, and a player of her calibre, you can't give her that space outside because she'll just complete it.
It's Belgium. Have looked quite strong on this drive from
the left,
the tap off, but
they are creating a little bit of space now. There's a little bit of space opening up on that right hand side, so we'll see if they can exploit it later on.
This is all going to be about learning for Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
They're going to look at where France are scoring their tries, and I suppose it's then taking for the rest of the tournament, closing up them areas, making sure that those areas are covered.
Correct, yeah. I mean, it's, like we said before, it's about learning, it's about development, it's about experience, and it will pay. These types of games and these experiences, they pay dividends if the core group can stay together for I suppose another cycle, or within this cycle. In the touch community, as I suppose we like to refer as the build-ups to World Cup as one continuous cycle. So if you're building towards the 2024 World Cup, you are at the start or at the beginnings of your current cycle. If this group can stay together for the rest of this current cycle, that's when they'll see these starts of experiences start to pay off. And like we said, it kind of all comes undone when players drop off and new faces have to come in. But that's the nature of amateur sport, and that's the nature of some of these developing nations. They don't have the luxury that teams like England have in terms of their setup. But she's straight through. Let's see if they can lose a mirror. Is that back to one? No. Good defence from the French. One of the few times they've been exposed, and Belgium have been able to cut through them.
Clara Drew's going through there, and just as the half needed someone open that she could pass it to put the ball down. Yeah,
just couldn't find somebody free, and that's a shame. But good to see that Belgium haven't stopped playing, or they're still trying, they're still going for those holes, and they've still got 4 minutes here. If they can run those types of play again, I'm sure it'll come open for them. Henri, speed. I think that's a hat trick. Brilliant.
It really is a
brilliant,
fantastic display by France. 14-0.
Oh, she's really good. I mean, there's been a few teams that, especially in the Women's Open, I'll go back to the Scotland Women's Open. They run a lot of players through Hannah Crisp in one pod, and then it'll change for the other pod. France, a little bit similar in that way. Cécile Mass in one pod, and Marie-Henri in the other pod. There seem to be their two strike players that everything kind of goes through, and the better teams do have those. They'll have at least one in each pod. The top teams, the teams that we're going to see that will be here on Saturday afternoon, they'll have 3-4 of those players that just can do anything at any time, and that is what separates the better teams, I suppose. Good ball.
It's a comparison I used yesterday, I think. If you go to England Open and London Galaxy as well, you look at John Marston Stanley, Louis Treyes, and Camille Chapdine,
Josh Henderson.
The way they play together.
Yep.
I mean, one of the reasons for Galaxy's success in the mixed tournament that we've just been through was those three and the way they played, and they stuck together.
Yeah. Good touch. Oh. Yeah, I think that was well deserved. Good defence of Belgium. Yeah, like we said, I think you could name any top team that you can think of either here today, men's NTS, mixed NTS, and you'll find that the teams that are probably 1 to 5, they will have at least 2 players in each pod that can affect the game in ways that most players can't. And that might be through experience, speed, ball playing ability, vision. They can influence the game at any time. The elite teams, the top 1 and 2, they will have, let's say it's mixed, they'll have 3 boys that can all affect the game. The girl link will be able to affect the game the same level as the boy could, really. And like the women's yesterday, like you just need to look at the England Women's Opens. The reason that they're torching everyone at the minute is because every pod has 4 players in the middle that can just do it all. Good hole from Marie-Henri.
And it's another try for France. 15 they have on the board without reply.
Great way to finish the game as well. I think that's given her 4 scores. She has been mega in this second half. It's like Cécile Mass thought, I've had a pretty good first half. Marie-Henri, you can take it for the next 20 minutes. Off you go.
Go on, Marie, crack on.
Off you go. Off you go. Yeah, she's been awesome. I keep saying it, but she looks like a sevens player. Like she really big stride length, great left foot step, great hands, great vision. But like we said, obviously France have been great. They've been clinical, they've been ruthless, but Belgium, they'll have learned so much from that experience, and to be able to look back on it, learn from your mistakes, that's just invaluable in any sport, and you've got to take that through you've got 3 more days to improve on it, and then Euros again next year.
And this is the thing, that they've got the ability of looking at the stream. They can use the video from that and say, right, this is where we need to improve. This is where we need to tighten up. This is where we need to be better.